Imagine you are walking into a brightly lit room. The door just locks behind you. And right in the middle of this completely sterile space is a single table.
Right.
And resting on that table are two boxes. Box A is completely transparent. Inside it, you can clearly see a crisp stack of bills totaling exactly $1,000.
Right. Nice and visible.
Exactly. Now, right next to it is Box B. But Box B is completely opaque. You cannot see inside it at all.
The mystery box.
Yeah, the mystery box. And a voice over a loudspeaker tells you that Box B either contains absolutely nothing or it contains $1 million.
Wow. I mean, the stakes are just immediately clear to anyone standing in that room. You basically have $1,000 guaranteed or, a shot at a life-changing million.
Right. And the voice gives you two choices. You can either take both boxes, grabbing the 1,000 in Box A and whatever mystery amount is in Box B, or you can just take Box B and walk away.
Which seems like a no-brainer at first.
Yeah, I mean, any rational person immediately thinks, well, obviously I'll just take both. Why wouldn't I take the extra $1,000 sitting right in front of me?
Right. It's free money.
But there is a catch that changes absolutely everything. A nearly infallible being, let's just call it the predictor, has already guessed what you are going to choose.
And this is where it gets crazy.
Yeah, because it set up the boxes based on that guess yesterday before you even walked into the room.
So the rules governing how the predictor sets up those boxes are, well, they're incredibly strict. They're the engine driving this entire scenario.
Okay, let's unpack this. How exactly does it work?
So if the predictor guessed that you are going to be greedy and take both boxes, it left box B completely empty.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you only walk away with the $1,000 from box A. But on the other hand, if the predictor guessed that you will take only box B, it put the full $1 million inside it.
I see. So you have to make your choice right now looking at these two boxes, but the contents are already locked in. You have no idea what the predictor actually guessed.
Exactly. The money is either there or it isn't.
It's like a cosmic game show where the host somehow already knows your every move, your every twitch, your deepest thought processes before you even step on stage.
That's a great way to put it.
So our mission for this deep dive is to really explore this exact scenario. It's known as Newcomb's problem, or Newcomb's paradox. And it's a thought experiment so completely mind-bending that it has literally split the philosophical world in half.
Yeah, what makes it so enduring is the fixed nature of the conditions. You're standing there, right? You have to choose without knowing the prediction. The money is physically either in the box or it isn't.
Right.
The predictor has already done its job in the past. So the ultimate question for you, the listener, is just, what do you do? Do you take one box or two?
On the surface, it feels like a fun little puzzle, but the history of this is anything but simple. Like, where did this absolute torture device of a brain teaser even originate?
Well, the origins are fascinating because it actually didn't come from a philosopher initially. Yeah, it was created by a physicist named William Newcomb. He was at the University of California's Lawrence Livermore Laboratory.
Oh, interesting.
He came up with the idea, but it kind of flew under the radar for a bit until a philosopher named Robert Nozick rigorously analyzed it in a paper back in 1969.
1969, okay.
But the moment it truly exploded into mainstream consciousness, though, was in March 1973. The legendary Martin Gardner wrote about it in his Mathematical Games column for Scientific American.
Oh, right. From there, I'm guessing it just caught fire.
Totally. Everyone who hears it has this immediate, visceral reaction.
Yeah, I read that Nozick pointed out a really bizarre sociological fact about this puzzle. He noted that to almost everyone, the answer is completely obvious.
Yes.
But the difficulty is that people divide almost evenly on the problem, and each half thinks the other side is being entirely silly.
It acts like an optical illusion, but for logic.
Yeah.
You look at it and see one undeniable truth, while the person next to you sees the exact opposite.
That's so weird.
And that divide isn't just an anecdote from the 70s either. It persists today among the people whose literal job it is to think about these things.
Wait, really? Professional philosophers are still arguing about this?
Oh, yeah. In a massive 2020 survey of professional philosophers, they were asked what they would do in Newcomb's problem. 39% chose to take both boxes, while 31.2% chose to take just one.
Wow, that is incredibly close. But I feel like people are overcomplicating this.
How so?
If I just map this out like a standard prisoner's dilemma or any other matrix, taking both boxes always nets me an extra $1,000, no matter what the predictor did yesterday.
Right. The map seems straightforward.
Yeah, it's the mathematically dominant strategy. Game over. So why is this a massive philosophical debate and not just a simple equation?
Well, you'd think so, but your matrix has a fatal flaw. Newcomb's problem actually breaks the foundations of traditional game theory.
Wait, it breaks game theory?
Yeah. Think about what a game is in that strict mathematical sense.
Yeah.
You usually have two independent players, right? Each trying to maximize their outcome, and each with a clear preference order.
Sure.
But the predictor isn't a true player in that sense. It has absolutely no preference for the outcome. It doesn't care if you win the million or if you leave with nothing.
Oh, I see.
And even more importantly, standard game theory assumes independent choices. But here, the predictor's choice is probabilistically dependent on your choice.
Right, because it's predicting me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your actions and the predictor's actions are entangled in a way that standard grids simply cannot compute.
Okay, so math alone can't hand us the answer key here. We have to rely on deeper logic, which brings us to the two warring philosophical strategies that actually create this paradox. Let's break down the strategy for taking just one box first.
Yeah, that side of the debate is anchored in a principle called expected utility.
Expected utility, okay.
The logic here asks you to look at the track record of the predictor. The problem states that the predictor is highly accurate, nearly infallible, right? So statistically, people who choose only box B walk away with $1 million, and people who choose both boxes walk away with 1,000.
Because the predictor almost always guesses correctly.
Exactly. If your goal is to maximize your expected winnings over time, the choice is statistically obvious. You just take box B.
Right.
This is called one-boxing. You accept the premise of the predictor's accuracy, you ignore the physical reality of the boxes in the moment, and you just play the overwhelming odds to get the million.
Yeah, and Nozick himself argued for this in certain conditions, along with plenty of other thinkers. But then you have the other side of the aisle, the two-boxer.
Right. The two-boxing strategy relies on a completely different principle called strategic dominance.
Which is what I was leaning towards earlier.
Yeah. The core of this argument rests on the unbreakable arrow of time. The predictor has already made its prediction. The boxes are already set on the table. Exactly. The $1 million is physically either sitting inside box B right now, or it isn't. Your choice in this exact present moment cannot retroactively change what the predictor did yesterday.
That makes perfect sense.
Therefore, no matter what is currently in box B, choosing both boxes will always yield exactly $1,000 more than choosing just box B.
Because you always get the extra 1,000 from box A.
Yes. If box B is empty, taking both gets you 1,000 instead of 0. If box B has $1 million, taking both gets you 1,000,000 and 1,000 instead of just 1,000,000.
It is strategically dominant in every conceivable physical scenario.
Precisely.
You know, to help visualize this, let me offer an analogy for everyone listening. One-boxing is kind of like trusting your GPS, even when it tells you to turn down a sketchy, unpaved dirt road.
Well, like this.
You don't understand the routing and it looks wrong, but statistically, the algorithm always gets you there faster, so you blindly follow it. Two-boxing, on the other hand, is like refusing to turn down that dirt road because you can physically see a massive traffic jam on it with your own two eyes. You refuse to deny the physical reality right in front of you just because some algorithm tells you otherwise.
That perfectly captures the tension. We have the statistical algorithm against physical reality. And this tension gets stretched to its absolute breaking point when we consider the limit case.
The limit case.
Yeah, what if the predictor isn't just highly accurate, but perfectly infallible? Like it literally never makes a mistake.
Yeah.
Ever.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Interestingly, even hardcore defenders of two-boxing often admit that in the limit case, where the predictor is 100% infallible, you have to be one boxer.
Really? They concede that?
They do.
Yeah.
Because in a universe with a perfect predictor, the combination of you taking both boxes and box B having the $1 million is simply an impossible state of reality. It cannot exist.
Because if you take both, the perfect predictor would have known, so the box would have to be empty. Which means we aren't really arguing about the money anymore, are we? We are arguing about how the universe actually works. The strategies clash entirely based on how we think the predictor is making its guess.
Yes.
We're moving out of pure casino strategy and straight into the terrifying realm of free will.
For sure. I mean, if the predictor is infallible, we are forced to ask how that is physically possible. Some thinkers suggest this might involve retrocausality.
Meaning backwards causation.
Exactly. Maybe your choice in the present actually causes the predictor's prediction in the past. Perhaps the predictor is using a time machine to view your choice and then setting the boxes based on what you already did in their future.
Man, if my choice causes the past prediction, it completely validates one boxing, but it also throws us right into the grandfather paradox.
It really does.
It forces us to confront the contradiction between a predetermined fate and the illusion of free choice. If the predictor has a time machine, am I really making a choice at all, or am I just fulfilling a timeline?
That dilemma leads to another interpretation. What if the predictor isn't a time traveler, but just possesses an infallibly correct psychology?
Like it just knows how humans think.
Better than that. What if it knows your specific brain chemistry so perfectly, understands your micro-expressions of personal history so deeply, that it knows exactly what you will do?
That's unsettling.
Or, alternatively, what if the predictor is a master hypnotist who actually manipulates choosers to act in accordance with how it already set the boxes?
See, if the predictor is just an infallible psychologist who mapped my brain, am I even making a choice? Or am I just executing a biological script?
Well, that question is the crux of the character formation argument. Let's look at how this plays out in deterministic universes.
Okay.
Imagine a rational person deciding whether to cross a busy street. They choose to cross, only if their internal reasoning process indicates it is safe. Their decision process correlates with a safe outcome, even if their choice in that exact split second doesn't causally change the oncoming traffic. In Newcomb's problem, you want to be the kind of person, you want to have the internal character that a perfect psychologist would look at and predict is a one-boxer.
Because the predictor is reading your disposition. It's evaluating who you are fundamentally.
Exactly. Some philosophers propose that we divide the entire problem into two distinct stages to deal with this.
Okay, what are the stages?
Stage 1 is your life before the prediction is made. Stage 2 is standing in front of the boxes.
Got it.
In Stage 1, you should be a dedicated good Boy Scout and completely commit yourself to being a one-boxer. You cultivate that personality.
So you train yourself.
Right. The decisions that actually determine the bulk of the money occur in that first stage, when your brain state is being analyzed by the predictor. If you reach Stage 2, standing in front of the boxes, and you haven't genuinely committed to one boxing, you've already lost the riches.
Because you've been a bad Boy Scout and the predictor saw right through you.
Precisely.
But wait, what if I just try to game the system? Like, what if I cultivate the personality of a one-boxer, project that to the universe, but secretly plan to snatch both boxes at the last possible second?
What's fascinating here is that philosophers have explored exactly that loophole.
Really?
Yeah. If it were possible, the absolute best character to develop is one that completely fools these psychologist seers. You start off genuinely intending to take only the closed box, broadcasting that pure brain state to the predictor so they leave the $1 million.
Right.
But then, at the absolute last microsecond, you pivot, yield to temptation, and take both.
Yes. The perfect crime.
The problem is, if the predictor truly knows you better than you know yourself, your deep-seated plan to pivot is something they would have already factored into the prediction.
Of course. Here's where it gets really interesting, because we're talking about tricking an entity of almost godlike intelligence. This is how a simple game about two boxes on a table has evolved into massive debates about living in the Matrix.
Oh, absolutely. The modern extensions of Newcomb's paradox get incredibly wild, specifically regarding simulation theory.
How does that fit in?
Let's say the predictor arrives at its perfect guess by running a flawless, hyper-detailed computer simulation of your brain.
Oh.
The simulation is so perfect that the digital version of you genuinely believes it is standing in front of the real boxes, making the real choice.
Wait, slow down. If the simulation is perfectly mapped to my neurons and it generates my actual consciousness,
Yes.
then when I am standing in front of the boxes, I have absolutely no way of knowing if I am the real me in the real world or the digital me inside the predictor's hard drive from yesterday. I could just be the test run.
Exactly. You cannot tell if you are the physical entity of blood and bone or just lines of code.
That is insane.
But you do know one thing. The virtual you is currently telling the predictor what to do in the real world. Therefore, to ensure the real box B gets the $1 million, you, not knowing which layer of reality you currently exist in, must choose only box B.
Because you have to assume you are the simulation and you want to trigger the payout for the real you.
Yes.
That is genuinely terrifying. I'm having a minor existential crisis just thinking about it.
Right.
But what if the predictor is actively trying to mess with you? What if it waits to see what you do and then fills the box.
Oh, there's a twisted variation known as the meta-Newcomb problem proposed by Nick Bostrom.
Meta-Newcomb, okay.
Imagine a meta-predictor overseeing the whole game. This entity tells you, if you get greedy and reach for both boxes, the regular predictor is going to see that and empty the million-dollar box right before your hands touch it.
Oh, wow.
But if you humbly choose just the one box, the regular predictor will have already permanently sealed the million inside yesterday.
So the timeline literally depends on my choice. If I'm greedy, causality flows forward and the box empties in real time. But I'm humble, causality is locked in the past. It's an intentional trap.
It really is.
Yeah.
It is designed to shatter both causal logic and expected utility logic simultaneously.
Yeah.
But, if we want to step back from the sci-fi elements of time machines, simulations, and metal predictors, there is a very grounded historical medical analogy that brings us right back to everyday human behavior.
Oh, what kind of analogy?
In the late 1950s, a thinker named R.A. Fisher proposed a thought experiment about a smoker's lesion.
Okay, this would be back when the science on smoking wasn't fully settled, right? And people were passionately arguing over correlation versus actual causation.
Exactly. Fisher proposed a hypothetical scenario where smoking does not actually cause lung cancer.
Hypothetically, right.
Right. Instead, imagine there is a genetic defect, a smoker's lesion, that causes two completely separate things in a human body. It causes a person to intensely crave smoking, and it also causes cancer.
Okay, so they're linked by the gene.
Yes. The two outcomes are probabilistically connected because of the gene, but the act of smoking doesn't cause the cancer. If this were true, would it be rational for a person to smoke?
Well, I mean, if the lesion causes both things, then denying myself a cigarette doesn't actually prevent the cancer. I either have the genetic lesion or I don't.
Exactly.
That's exactly like the boxes. The money is either there or it isn't. The cancer is either coming or it isn't.
Yeah.
So in this medical analogy, if I enjoy smoking, I should just smoke. Suffering through withdrawals won't cure my underlying genetic defect.
That is the ultimate real-world argument for strategic dominance, or two-boxing. You don't alter past realities by changing present behaviors.
That makes a lot of sense.
But there's a brilliant counter-argument to this called the tickle defense.
The tickle defense. What does a tickle have to do with lung cancer or million-dollar boxes?
The tickle refers to the internal urge, the physical sensation of wanting a cigarette.
Ah, okay.
The defense points out that if you are actively deliberating over the choice to smoke, you must be analyzing your own internal desires.
Right.
If the genetic lesion makes you want to smoke, and you know this fact, then feeling the urge, the tickle, already gives you the information about whether you have the lesion.
Oh.
Yeah. The moment you feel the craving, you know you likely have the bad gene. Because you already have that terrible information, the decision to actually light the cigarette no longer provides any new data about your cancer risk.
Ah, I see. If I feel the tickle, I already know my fate. So the paradox dissolves. I can just make my choice based on standard utility without worrying about mysterious predictors or hidden genes.
Exactly. The core medical analogy remains one of the most realistic everyday versions of Newcomb's problem because it deals with hidden variables we can't control.
That's brilliant.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this brings us to why all of this still matters half a century later.
Right.
Newcomb's problem tests the very limits of human rationality. It forces us to define what actually makes a choice smart. Are you smart because you rigidly follow the strict chain of physical cause and effect? Or are you smart because you walk away with the most money?
I mean, I'd prefer to walk away with the money, personally.
Most people would, and that creates a huge problem for strict logicians. Researchers like Osterheld and Konitzer have published papers arguing against the strict cause and effect approach, which is known as causal decision theory.
Okay.
They demonstrated that in scenarios like Newcomb's, causal decision theorists will actually subject themselves to what philosophers call a diachronic Dutch book.
Wait, a Dutch book? What is that?
In gambling terms, a Dutch book is a scenario where a clever bookie offers you a complex series of bets. Each individual bet seems entirely logical and mathematically sound to you in the moment.
But I'm guessing it's a trap.
It is. Because of how the bets interact over time, you are mathematically guaranteed to lose money overall, no matter what the outcomes are.
Ouch.
Because the two-boxer rigidly follows immediate cause and effect in every single instance, a smart bookie or a predictor can offer them a series of separate, completely logical bets over time that ultimately drain their wallet completely. They are logically correct, but practically bankrupt.
Man, and that is the ultimate gut punch of this whole thought experiment. For you listening, Newcomb's problem isn't really about transparent boxes or a million imaginary dollars. It's about whether we trust logic, whether we trust statistics, or whether we truly believe in our own free will.
Exactly.
It's basically a mirror held up to how you navigate the deep uncertainty of the world.
It really strips away all your assumptions and reveals whether you are fundamentally a pragmatist playing the algorithm or a realist bound by the immediate physical laws of the universe.
Absolutely. So I'll leave you with this. We've talked a lot about money in boxes and time-traveling psychologists, but consider the algorithms feeding you content on your phone right now.
Good point.
They analyze millions of data points about your behavior, your habits, your microscopic pauses as you scroll. They know exactly what you will click before you even realize you want it.
They're modern-day predictors.
Exactly. So when you make your next online purchase or when you click on the next recommended video, ask yourself, did you freely choose to do that? Or did a digital predictor simply set up the boxes so perfectly that you couldn't help but take exactly what was predicted?